What happens when the biggest name in basketball decides basketball isn't big enough? And what happens when her biggest rival, who is dominating the sport, is forced to watch her steal the spotlight by playing golf? This isn't just a rivalry anymore, it's a corporate takeover. And as Caitlin Clark signs deals that are changing women's sports forever, Angel Reese's reaction has been exposed, and she is fuming. It all started when the sports world was rocked by news of Caitlin Clark's next big move. She wasn't just planning her 2026 WNBA comeback, she was crossing over. Clark announced she would be returning to the LPGA Tour, not as a pro, but as the star attraction at one of its most prestigious events, the Anika Pro-Am in Florida. This isn't just a fun celebrity golf game, this is a calculated power play. Clark is a high-level brand ambassador for Gainbridge, the company that sponsors the entire tournament. This move solidifies her status as a corporate giant, a face so powerful she can bring millions of eyeballs to an entirely different sport. She had already participated in 2024, playing alongside golf legends Anika Sorenstam and Nelly Korda, and the LPGA was desperate to get her back. Anika herself said Clark added such a great dynamic and brought amazing crowds. But Clark's first trip to the LPGA wasn't a flawless victory, it was almost a disaster. During the 2024 LPGA Women's Leadership Summit, just before the Pro-Am, Clark was asked about her golf game. She was brutally honest. She joked that she's usually just praying to break 100. Then she made a vow, her #1 priority for the tournament: "I just don't want to hit anyone with a golf ball." What happened next was almost comical. On the 9th hole, Clark shanked a drive. The second it left the club, she was heard on a hot mic saying, "That might have hit someone." It did. The stray shot struck a spectator named Tracy Colbert, leaving a nasty bruise on her shoulder. Colbert was fine and even posted a witty TikTok about it, saying, "I didn't expect to give Caitlin Clark an assist." For her 2025 return, Clark's only promise, posted to her Instagram story, was a hilarious and humble, "We'll try not to hit anyone." But while Clark was laughing about her golf swing, her WNBA career was falling apart. Caitlin Clark's 2025 WNBA season was a nightmare. Her encore to a historic Rookie of the Year campaign was, as the official Fever review called it, an unexpected blip. That's an understatement. Clark only managed to play in 13 games all season. She was plagued by a relentless string of injuries, a left quad strain, a groin issue, and a bone bruise in her left ankle. The final blow came on July 15th in a game against the Connecticut Sun. Clark suffered a right groin injury that shut her down for good. Her season was over. In a rare show of vulnerability, Clark posted a statement to her fans, saying, "Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling." While the Fever's medical team worked on her long-term health, Clark was relegated to the sidelines, becoming a motivational speaker at corporate events just to stay busy. And as Caitlin Clark watched from the sidelines, her greatest rival was having the season of her life. While Clark was in rehab, Angel Reese was putting the league on notice. Her 2025 season was a statistical masterpiece of aggression and dominance. She was named a 2025 WNBA All-Star for the second straight year. She averaged a staggering 14.7 points, 3.7 assists, and a league-leading 12.6 rebounds per game. For her efforts, she officially won the 2025 WNBA Peak Performer Award for rebounding. She logged 23 total double-doubles, including a ridiculous 11-game consecutive streak. She wasn't just padding stats, she was breaking records. On May 27, 2025, Reese became the fastest player in WNBA history to record 500 points and 500 rebounds. A few weeks later, she recorded one of the fastest triple-doubles the league had ever seen. By every traditional metric, Angel Reese was the superior player in 2025. She was an Iron Woman, a statistical giant, and an all-star. But there was one stat she couldn't fix: the scoreboard. Despite Angel Reese's historic dominance, the Chicago Sky were a train wreck. They finished the 2025 season with a humiliating 10-34 record, tied for the worst in the WNBA. Reese was putting up legendary numbers on a lottery-bound team. And the ultimate irony, Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever, the team without its superstar, rallied. They finished the season 24-20 and won their first playoff series in a decade, advancing all the way to the WNBA semifinals. The message was clear and painful. Clark's absence was more valuable to a team's success than Reese's dominance. The most damning stat of all? The Chicago Sky, in the 14 games Reese missed, went 1-13. The losses were piling up. The frustration was building. And on May 17th, the rivalry exploded. It was the 2025 season opener, Fever versus Sky. The tension was palpable. In the third quarter, Caitlin Clark committed a hard foul on Angel Reese, sending her to the floor. After a review, the refs upgraded it to a flagrant foul penalty 1. The media, as always, descended, desperate for a soundbite. Reese, to her credit, played it cool publicly. When asked about the foul, she gave a concise 8-word verdict that seemed to end the discussion. Basketball play. Refs got it right. Move on. But that was the public response. The real response, the authentic, fuming reaction, came later. In a now-deleted tweet, Reese took a direct shot at Clark, writing, "And that's on getting a win in a packed area, not just cause of one player on our charter flight. The one player was obviously Clark, and the charter flight was a reference to the Caitlin Clark effect that was credited with getting the entire league charter flights." Reese was furious that Clark was getting credit for everything while she was doing the work. She deleted the tweet, but the meltdown was just beginning. Angel Reese's 2025 season became a case study in frustration boiling over. The 10-34 record, the lack of credit, and the constant media circus pushed her to a breaking point. It wasn't just one deleted tweet, it was a non-stop social media meltdown. In January 2025, she temporarily deleted her entire Instagram account after facing a wave of incessant body-shaming backlash over a viral New Year's Eve dress that critics called ultra-revealing. She was fighting with fans, and soon she was fighting with the media. In July 2025, Phillies broadcaster John Kruk made a subtle on-air jab about Reese cleaning up her own missed shots, a reference to the me-bounds insult. Reese shot back on Twitter, "Clout is one hell of a drug. Like it really gets to a point." She then posted a list of her 2025 accomplishments. Hooper, model, fashion icon, actress, all at 23. The post backfired, with users mocking her. Walks a runway one time, now she's a professional model. This chaotic energy finally culminated in the ultimate sin of pro sports. In September, with the season lost, Reese publicly blasted her team, resulting in the Chicago Sky suspending her for the outburst. The internal collapse was so bad that WNBA legend Candace Parker took Reese to task on her podcast, issuing a blunt public warning. "You have to protect your team and your organization. The best advice I've ever received is to keep things in-house. It's hard to gain that trust back." Angel Reese was isolated. Her team was in last place, her stats meant nothing, and the legends were shunning her. And that's when the final, most humiliating blow was delivered. This is the moment the rivalry truly ended. Ice Cube, founder of the Big Three League, had famously offered Caitlin Clark a $5 million deal to play. In July 2025, with Reese's all-star numbers impossible to ignore, Ice Cube was asked if he would make that same $5 million offer to Angel Reese. His answer was a public execution. "I don't think we can make that same offer," Cube stated flatly, "because it won't have the same impact to the league." He wasn't just guessing, he explained the brutal math. The $5 million for Clark, he said, was backed by assurances from corporate sponsors who were convinced she would have a major impact. He then delivered the knockout punch, stating that this same level of corporate support doesn't exist for Angel Reese. This was Reese's worst fear confirmed. Her peak performer award, her 23 double-doubles, her all-star status, none of it mattered to the corporations who write the real checks. Ice Cube didn't just deny her, he exposed the entire game. And if you don't believe him, just look at the receipts. Let's look at the financial scoreboard. This is the only stat that matters now. On one side, you have Angel Reese's 2025 season, a WNBA All-Star appearance, and a peak performer award for being the league's best rebounder. On the other, you have Caitlin Clark's 2025 season, 13 games played, followed by a season-ending injury. Now look at the money. Onderlijn could apport needs. Onderlijn could apport needs. Onderlijn could apport needs. Do plaint Merksvro Katelish Slade of alla righthead. What Merks proceeding to. Caitlin Clark's estimated 2025 net worth is $10 million. Angel Reese has a signature shoe deal with Reebok, a massive accomplishment. Caitlin Clark has a signature shoe deal with Nike, worth a reported $28 million. Angel Reese was publicly denied a $5 million offer from the Big Three. Caitlin Clark received that $5 million offer. The player who was injured and benched is worth nearly 7 times more than the player who was an all-star and peak performer. This isn't a rivalry anymore, it's a corporate takeover. And it has shattered the WNBA, dividing its past from its future. The old heads are now in a civil war. Legends like Nancy Lieberman are publicly calling out other legends like Cheryl Swoops for fabricated anti-Clark stats and shunning the jealousy in the league. Others are imploring veteran players to embrace Clark and the money she brings. But a different group, led by icons like Sue Bird and Aja Wilson, fires back that the rivalry is a media creation. Wilson has pointed out that the real issue is the toxic, hateful, and racist comments from fans that have poisoned the discourse. But that LPGA Pro-Am proves it's not just a media creation, it's a corporate one. Caitlin Clark's disastrous 2025 season proved that her on-court performance is now completely secondary to her corporate power. Angel Reese's dominant 2025 season proved that for her, on-court performance no longer guarantees that power. Angel Reese is playing basketball. Caitlin Clark is building an empire. And in the new economy of sports, that's the only game that matters. This new economy is built on a simple, brutal truth. Visibility has replaced victory. While Angel Reese was collecting rebounds, Caitlin Clark was collecting corporate speaking fees. Even while injured, Clark was reportedly pulling in $100,000 per speech, leveraging her brand at leadership summits while her team was fighting in the playoffs without her. The game she was playing had different rules. Marketability metrics from 2025 showed that even after a full season on the sidelines, Clark's brand power, while dipping slightly, was still ranked higher than every other WNBA player, including the league's actual MVP, Angel Wilson. Clark's social media engagement, her phenomenon, was being compared not to other WNBA players, but to global icons like Messi or Ronaldo. She had become a personal brand that transcended her own sport, and this is the reality that Angel Reese was forced to confront. The data from her own season was a nightmare. She was an all-star, a peak performer, and a non-negotiable problem for her own front office. As the Chicago Sky's 34-loss season mercifully ended, Reese's meltdown went from deleted tweets to a full-blown public ultimatum. She blasted the organization, telling the media, "I'm not settling for the same stuff we did this year," while she declared that getting great players was a non-negotiable for me, and even hinted at a trade, saying if things don't pan out, obviously I might have to move in a different direction and do what's best for me. She even took aim at the Sky's injured legendary point guard Courtney Vandersloot, stating the team can't rely on Courtney to come back at the age that she's at. It was a declaration of war on her own franchise. But the most devastating shot came from outside the league. When Ice Cube was asked why he wouldn't give Angel Reese the same $5 million Big Three offer he gave Clark, he didn't just say no, he exposed the entire system. He explained that Clark's offer was backed by assurances from corporate sponsors. Then he delivered the fatal line. "They didn't tell us the same thing about Angel Reese." He confirmed that the corporations who fund the empires just weren't interested. This is the new scoreboard. It's not just that Clark's $28 million Nike deal dwarfs Reese's Reebok deal. It's that the entire corporate infrastructure has already decided who the winner is, regardless of who is playing. The ultimate proof, look at the 2026 season. Before a single practice has been held, before Clark is even medically cleared, the betting odds for the 2026 WNBA MVP have already been released. The reigning MVP, Angel Wilson, is third on the list. The player favored right behind the leader, Caitlin Clark. The player who played 13 games. The player whose team got better when she was gone. Her potential for a comeback is already being valued more than other players' actual dominance. Angel Reese isn't just fighting Caitlin Clark anymore. She's fighting a future that has already been written, financed, and sold. This shatters the rising tide lifts all boats theory that the league has been pushing. The tide isn't lifting all boats, it's lifting the yachts, and Caitlin Clark's is the only one with a multi-million-dollar sponsorship sale. The rest of the league, including its reigning MVP, is being left to tread water. Look at Angel Wilson. In 2025, she was the undisputed best player on the planet, winning the WNBA MVP award. And yet, when the 2026 betting odds were released, she was listed third, right behind the injured Clark. The message from the market was clear. An injured Clark's potential is more valuable than Angel Wilson's proven dominance. Wilson's frustration has been palpable, as she's been forced to answer questions about Clark in her own MVP press conferences. This is the corporate sorting hat, and it has placed Angel Reese in an entirely different house. The most shocking part of this new economy isn't that Reese is being ignored by corporations, it's that she's not. In fact, by some metrics, her brand is stronger than Clark's. In 2025, Angel Reese led the entire WNBA in the number of endorsement deals, with 22 separate partnerships. She also dominated social media, generating over 4.3 million engagements on her branded posts. Caitlin Clark, by comparison, had far fewer deals and generated only 716,000 engagements. Angel Reese is playing the modern brand game, and she is winning. So why is she fuming? Because her 22 deals with brands like Reebok, Beats, and McDonald's, all combined, are worth less than Clark's one shoe deal. Clark's $28 million Nike contract isn't just a deal, it's an anointing. It's corporate proof that she is the blue chip stock. while Reese, despite her massive engagement and all-star performance, has been classified as a high-volume, lower-yield asset. This is why Ice Cube's denial was so brutal. He wasn't saying Reese has no value. He was saying the corporations that backed the $5 million checks told him her value was lower. This is the trap Angel Reese is in. The media, which she herself said has benefited from my pain, spent 2 years casting her as the villain. She even tried to embrace it. But that villain narrative is now being used by the market as a justification to cap her earning potential. She is caught in an impossible loop. Her on-court dominance doesn't matter. Her off-court branding, while statistically successful, can't break through the corporate ceiling that Clark's all-American narrative built. She is outworking Clark on the court and out-engaging her online and still losing the only game that matters. She is an athlete stuck in a metrics-driven corporate world that has already decided she is second.